And situated here. We are broadcasting live. We are on site. I'm not on site, but my partner in action is on site, and we're going to get to do a physical tour of a beautiful multifamily property, a 100-unit building in this little submarket called Del City, which is a suburb of Oklahoma City. We'll be going live on site touring that property. So if you're here to see a beautiful multifamily opportunity for the year, then you are in the right spot. Nick, I see you there. iPhone, I see you there. Mr. Phillip, I see you there. Lori, Mark, nice to see you guys. Thanks for spending some time and coming out and hanging with us to come see this asset with us. We appreciate having you. Cool. As we're going through this, know that this tour, we physically set this up for our investors to be able to take a look without having to fly in. So if you've got questions as we go, feel free, type them in the chat. When I get through the physical part with Rodney, then we'll actually open up and turn on mics and things like that. I do have a gift we're giving away. The team has worked really hard to build a book. And is this the Sarah book? Correct me if I'm wrong, Philip or Paige. Is this the Sarah book that we get to give away today?
We have a brand new book of Real Estate Syndications 101, right off the presses. Has a dictionary of all the things to look at. It is a good one.
This is the new book.
Brand new book. Literally, like as of minutes ago.
All right. So Real Estate Syndications 101 book, hot off the press. We're giving that away today. So hang out with us. We'll get you guys the link for this at the end. And in addition to that, we've got content to go through this actual asset. So first and foremost, what I want to do is I want to introduce Rodney. Rodney, you look like you're on site somewhere doing something fun. Where are you, my friend?
I am, my friend. I am in Del City, Oklahoma, on site here at this apartment complex that we have under contract, and we're getting ready to close on here shortly. This is a 100-unit complex that we've been working on for over a year, and we now have this complex, and I can walk you through a couple of the units, one that was just turned and one that was coming up for a turn, just had to move out. We can see any of that you'd like to see. But this property, let me turn my camera around. As you can see here, 4 different buildings, need some updating, and that's what my team's going to do and be able to take it to the next level and then increase rents and make it a community for those that want to come join us here. So 100 units. There it is, my friend. What would you like to see?
Let's talk about that. So a lot of people, when they physically see the exterior of a shell and they see 1970 kind of coming right at them, it blurs at them. They say, oh my goodness, should I invest in something like that? Let's talk a little bit about Del City, number one, the Olympics. Tell me a little bit about what's going on in this area, location, physically. Why is this a good pick?
Yeah, give me just a second. They're picking up the trash.
Okay.
So this property here is one that is very well built. It's all brick, so that's a good thing that we have in front of us at the moment, knowing that we don't have to be worried about the termite world and those types of things that some of the complexes I've looked at over the last year had definitely had concerns of. This is a very well built community. And it's been updated to have electrical to each individual unit. So that helps with the ownership as well. And new roofs have been put on, except for one, which we will do once we take over, and continue to turn the units. And I've actually got someone with us today going through to give us more of a palette update and what our options might be for there. And the team's continuing to get more of those updates, make it better along the way.
I know most everyone here has probably already met Rodney, but for the handful that haven't met you yet, Rodney, I just want to give a little background. So Rodney literally put himself through college in the roofing trade. So he's got a thorough background in construction trades. It's what he did. Then he went to school, got into the corporate world, became an engineer, technology engineer, and really climbed the ladder there. But he got back into real estate, into the rental game long time ago, and has been acquiring rentals for him and his wife, and eventually came into our world. And so when it comes to planning out capital expenditures, when it comes to building a community on site, there is no one better than Rodney to help lead that. So Rodney, we feel really blessed. Thank you for being here, number one, but thanks for taking us on this tour, number two. So
Sure. So let me walk you into one of the apartments here. This is one of our studio apartments. Get my camera to turn around for us. So this is the front of one of the buildings with all the studio apartments. And you can see it's got some updating to do, but for the most part, this will give you the view of the apartment itself. Nice little studio.
Let's have you pause right there. So you guys, everyone following us, look at it for what it is. It's dated. I mean, it looks like 1970. Maybe it's been updated once since then. I'm going to do a share screen on my screen here while Rodney's there, and I want to show you the vision with this. So this is a picture of that same unit. Look at the enhancements. So look at the screen that I'm showing you right now for a second. You can kind of see the side by side. You've got Rodney's video on site, and then you've got the team for the updated vision. Hopefully you can see that. If you can see that, you can make a lot of money in real estate, because at the end of the day, the folks that look past the datedness, they can see the upgraded value. They can see what it's going to look like when it's all said and done. That's where most of the money can be made for us. Rodney and team have scoped this thing to do some interior renovations and some exterior upgrades. So it's not going to look like 1970 after we're done with it. And that's where we got the big lift on this building. The seller on this particular one, he was dying of cancer for the last year, and he just didn't put any love into it. He was out of state, out of mind, not thinking about the property, just milking it, taking the cash flow from it. And consequently, we bought it super, super discounted. We bought it at $3.7 million, and it's our firm belief that it's worth more than $6 million. We need to do some improvements to it, but you can see here as Rodney goes on site, like we can do that by doing some updates. Okay, Rodney, let's keep going.
Yeah, so you're right, Nate. It's just pretty simple. Color palette upgrades improve the floor, as you noted. We're going to put LVP across all of it, and definitely improve the color palette as well, and make some minor updates, as well as on the exteriors we talked about. So I'll turn it over to you, Nate, while I walk over and do a 2-bedroom.
Cool. As you're walking, think about this. Mark, one of our investors, is asking, what does it cost to do a conversion on a studio apartment like that? So we can talk about some of the numbers when you land at the next spot. So I'm going to do a share screen just on showing you guys the vision again. These are not going to get like super high-end luxury upgrades. This isn't your house or my house. This property is very, very close. It's 6 minutes from Tinker Air Force Base. You can Google search it, Tinker. In my humble opinion, Tinker is the most important Air Force base in the country. Why? Because most of the service jets, the fighter jets, they get serviced at this Air Force base. It's a very, very busy Air Force base. The second reason for it is that it's in Del City. Del City specifically, it's an Oklahoma City suburb, but Del City has seen a 6% year-over-year population increase. If you compare that to Texas, compare that to Florida, any of the Southeast that have had these giant population growths in the last couple of years, 6% is gigantic. 0.5% is the US population growth as a whole. This little market is at 6%. And for us, what we're looking for in a good market, the deal, yes, it's important, the piece of real estate, but what's more important is the underlying market fundamentals, population growth and job growth. We could get a bad property in a market that has good population growth and good job growth, and we'll look like heroes every single time. And it's not necessarily us, it's just because of the market. If you can get a good property plus have population growth and have job growth, then you've got the trifecta that's perfect. So we have the wind at our back right now, having population growth, and then I'm going to talk about job growth in just a second as well. Because it's at Tinker Air Force Base, 6 minutes away, we also have the benefit of anything that Air Force Base gets for upgrades, improvements, suppliers, vendors. It's not just the Air Force Base, it's all of the service industries that support it, like Pratt & Whitney. Pratt & Whitney make most of the jet engines for fighter planes. and they just committed, you can Google search this too, but they just committed another $255 million to their Tinker Air Force Base facility. So that'll be 6 minutes from our property. You're going to have more fighter jet engines, the F-135, being made right next door. So again, this is not like the super high-end property. This is workforce housing. We'll have probably a lot of folks that work in the support industries around the Tinker Air Force Base when it's all said and done, but it's good, clean living. And that's really what we want. Roddy, did you make it over to the next unit? You
Just about.
Just about. Okay, I'm going to go through a little bit more on this one. For those who might be interested in this deal, know this, we only have $650,000 left on this deal. That means that we've raised already $2.15 million for this deal. We're 77% full. We just got the clear to close from title and from our lender. And usually when that happens, then all of a sudden we pop up and do a webinar like this and the rest of the money comes in. I spoke with Sue on our team this morning, and she said that she'll probably have it full by the end of the day. But right now, we've got about $650,000 left. The reason most people really jumped at this is because we bought it so deep. I know it's not the prettiest property on the block. I know that. It needs some upgrades. It needs a little bit of TLC to get there. But what makes it pretty is the fact that we're buying it so deep. We bought it at $3.7 million. We think it's worth north of $6 million. And what that enables us to do is shortly after closing, about 12 to 18 months in, so that's a year to a year and a half of ownership, we're going to go to the bank and we're going to say, hey, bank, look, we took this property, we improved it, we boosted the rents by this much. We'd like to do a cash out refinance. We're going to do the refinance. When those proceeds come in, we feel that there will be enough proceeds to hand back the majority of your money to you. I don't want to overpromise anything on that. It's not an easy task to do, but we feel very, very confident that we're going to return the majority of your money. 90%, possibly 100% of your capital comes back to you in less than 2 years of ownership. The beautiful part at that juncture is that you still get to collect rent from the property. It's not like you get your money back and then you're done. Instead, you get your cash back and you still get to collect rent, possibly forever. As long as this market's good and strong for us, we plan to hold it long term. So this is one of those investments where you can put in once, get your capital back, and then still get distributions potentially for life. Rodney, are we on site for the next unit?
We are, my friend. So I was going to show you here, walking into the courtyard of building number 1, and just some exterior updates that we plan to do, kind of as Nate was talking about, improving the palette. And now I'll walk into the unit here. It's a 2-bedroom unit that was just vacated, so it is something that will get turned and get done. But here's our 2-bedroom units, and it has all of the remake to yet be done, and then obviously 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom, and the bathroom. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. New carpet obviously to be done, but those are the units that we have currently, and we'll be turning those and making those updates as Nate was showing you from the color palette on those. Cool. And then also wanted to mention, Nate, I didn't hear you mention earlier the Olympics that are coming to the area in the next Summer Olympics.
Tell us about that, Rod.
Yeah, so Oklahoma was able to, because of their training facility they have for the universities here on the Canadian River, that there's a training facility for the kayaks, and they're actually bringing the water sports for the Olympics that are going to be in California, and they're going to do the water sports portion out here in Oklahoma during that time frame.
So you're telling me that Oklahoma is no longer a flyover state? It's cool.
Well, it's depends on what term you want to use. Yes, it is definitely getting more on the map.
Talk to me a little bit about just, I don't want to go too deep in politics, but it's a red state. Are they favorable laws for landlords? How do you feel on that frontier?
Absolutely. So the nice thing about Oklahoma and the landlord world is that we have the ability to take care of the ownership and making sure that we're not left hanging for those that need to go through the eviction process or get removed. There are certain regulations and capabilities that allow us to remove people within 7 days if needed. And the process in Oklahoma is much simpler than it is in some of the other states.
And this is coming from a guy, Rodney, you can tell stories, I'm sure, but I know personally, like Rodney just got done. We went through a big law change up in the state of Kentucky, where literally they used to have a 7-day eviction process and they changed it to a 30-day, which dramatically increased the time frame. And that's because the state, it was a little bit, it had a political indifference, I'll say that. But Oklahoma has been red for a long time. And so what Rodney's talking about is very important. Rodney, how about costs? And maybe as you're panning around, you can just kind of show us the background as you're talking. But what about costs for doing turnovers? We've got this community, obviously, that needs a little bit of love and some updates. Is this going to cost an arm and a leg like it does in Florida? Or what kind of pricing do we get for a unit churn in Oklahoma?
Yeah, so that's the nice thing about the Midwest, right? Is that the cost of ownership is a lot less. The cost of turns also come to be a lot less. Our contractors that we have teed up have given us quotes that are much cheaper than our current turns in Kentucky and also down in Florida and all the rest of them, because the overall cost of living is cheaper here in the Oklahoma area. And we know that the cost of materials isn't necessarily all that much cheaper, but because it's up everywhere, right? But overall, the cost to do a unit turn is going to be probably about 70% of what it is in Kentucky and some of our other areas.
About 70%. So what do you think, just on that little unit you showed us as in a base example, how much do you think it'll cost us to turn that unit?
Well, because we are going to update it, as you noted, with new flooring throughout, new cabinets, and new appliances throughout, we're looking at about $7,000 to $8,000 per unit. On a 2-bedroom unit like that, probably $10,000.
And even that, like, that's phenomenal for folks that are. I was having a conversation with one of our investors, Ryan, at breakfast a week and a half ago, and I told him those numbers, and he's like, "What? Is that possible?" But in Oklahoma City, it's very possible. It's not just because of Oklahoma City. It's also because we have expertise like Rodney, who really understands the trades. Rodney, is it fair to say that when you hire guys, you treat them well, you give them repeat business, they know they can count on you for a check, so they give you a better price?
Yeah, we work with people, we build relationships. I think everything that we do in our business here, it's about the relationships with people. It's about the relationship with everybody that we deal with, as well as the small businesses. We love working with the small businesses. They're much more flexible and they're much more willing to work with you because they know they can get the repeat business. And so we build those relationships on that. Luckily on this one, our program manager, Nick, has relationship with 3 of the contractors that we've got bidding on this property for the unit turns, as well as the roofing and other items we're looking at. And we know that they're going to take care of us. And so it comes back down to that relationship piece.
Is that Nick Shepard?
That is Nick Shepard. You can see him standing off there in the distance.
Oh, we're going to have to interview him at some point too. Nick has a famous son. He's the next Michael Jordan. So we'll have to tackle him. Hey, as you're walking, Rodney, one of the things that a lot of people fear is like, well, where are the skeletons in the closet? And I see you're out there, you're panning around. What kind of area is this? Are we looking at like gunshots? Are we looking at modern houses? Can you tell us a little bit about the area?
Yeah, so you see here on the south side, all of these houses down this whole block, they're standard family homes. Some of them are rentals, some of them are current owner occupied, and some of them are all of them are in great shape, but some of them are also rentals as well. But as you can see, right, they're all taken care of. That's the nice thing about this neighborhood I've enjoyed as well, as we've been working this about 14 months now. We've been working through here and been in and out of this area a lot. And not, as you say, or as you can say and hear, cars up on blocks, those types of things. None of those worries are my concern with this property. We are going to, improve some lighting and some things and make it inviting for people for sure. But overall, the neighborhood, yeah, it's a good place. Family members would definitely be comfortable in this area of the ward.
Cool, cool. So, if I were there looking for skeletons in the closet, what might I see? What would you say is that skeleton for this property?
Just the lack of upkeep and the deferred maintenance, I think, is the biggest skeleton with this place. And so we've been working with the current management team on site to ensure that they can help uncover any and all of those. We've, found a lot of old PTACs, for example, that were stored away that we were trying to figure out what and why. And turns out, they're just trying to save them for scrap metals at later points in life. Those types of things you don't quite understand, but you dig into and understand. And then also understanding that, the hidden costs in regards to the property where they're given concessions and things like those. Those are the things you have to dig into and understand. So as we built a relationship with current management team, we've come to learn more of that.
Rodney, could you talk to us a little bit about the rents? Lydia's asking a question about what are we expecting for rents. So maybe just kind of tell us where we are today and where you think the property will get to.
Yeah, about a 20% is the increase that we're looking at right now. So I think I should have had the numbers in my head. I went through a bunch this morning on another property, so bear with me if I get them crossed. But basically, we're right at 800, just below 800 if I recall, 790 something on average for this property, and we're looking at getting those up by 20% across the board. I think 23, if I'm specific, is what our plan is to adjust within the next 18 months.
Beautiful. So we got a 20% lift, and that's organic. I mean, we have to do some love to it and bring the physical look and appeal up, but it's not like we're forcing the market to go up. The market's already 20% ahead of this property. So over time, naturally rent will increase for us. We expect, especially 2026 and beyond, when some of the supply starts to become less. Right now, we've got some new apartment buildings that are coming to the market. All of those dry up at the end of 2026, 2027 is a year where there's going to be a lack of multifamily inventory. So our property is already 20% below market. Imagine what happens when there's no new construction being delivered. They start to dry up because the financing got super expensive in the last 2 years. So a lot of the new construction stuff is going to go away for a bit. And so we've got a property that's 20% below market rents now. We'll be able to achieve that over the next year and a half. And then additionally, the market will continue to appreciate for us in the rental perspective. So we'll have more room to run after that. But we feel really good about that 20% hike right now, right out of the gates. Rodney, is there anything else that you want to point out on site at the property?
I think that the one thing that I really appreciate about this property is, number one, it's a good solid structure brick. We got a good bones to work with, as they say. But as you look here, right, as I'm even panning around, and I'll pan from the east end all the way up to the west end of this property, right? There's no cars on blocks. They're all decent vehicles, probably 10, 12 years at most, right? You're looking at a pretty good community here. So I'm very proud of the fact that we're able to get this asset under contract and take it to close.
And I want to point out something what you just said, Rodney. Like, I'm seeing that a lot of the cars, people are at work right now. It's 12:23 local time where you're standing right now, middle of a work day, a Wednesday, and a lot of the cars are at jobs. It's not that the building is vacant. The building is 86 or so % occupied today. So the building's mostly full, yet most of the cars are gone. That's a good thing. That's what you want in a building. You don't want people there all day long, every single day, because it means that they're not working. Lydia is asking, will they be doing any exterior front porch updates?
Yeah, absolutely. For sure, for sure. One of the vendors that we have on site walking around with Nick right now is giving us recommendations on the pallet change and the updates. So we're definitely going to be changing, as you see, the wood insets to the window sections, as well as all the exterior bricks. That'll all be updated within the next few months.
Awesome. Rodney, what I'll do now is I'm going to pop over to the investment itself. And then if there's anything you want to show us, I'll flip it back to you in about a minute or so, a couple of minutes. So
All right, sounds good.
If you're looking for an investment, this is the last project that we have this year of this nature. It's not very often when you can find a deal that you can do a cash out refinance and get all your cash back in the first 2 years. Those deals are hard to find. And if you're wondering how I know that, it's because our team literally puts out offers every single day. We've reviewed 120 properties in the last 45 days, putting out LOIs every single day. And it's nearly impossible to get them deep enough where you can go to a bank and refinance them really fast. So this is kind of a rare breed. If you're looking to invest, we have 3 different tiers. There's only $650,000 left on this deal right now. A $100,000 investment gets you a 6% preferred return and a 70-30 equity split. So what that means is that you get paid 6% before we do as managers on this deal. I like to get paid. Trust me. Our team, we've got a good team. We've got 30 plus team members here. We like to get paid. So we're going to work really hard to make sure you get your 6%. And then after that, we get to start sharing in the profits with you. What we're going to do in the first 2 years is refinance it. We expect to be able to return almost all, if not all, of your capital in the first 2 years on the deal as well. So you get to collect profit for life. As long as we hold this asset, you get to continue to collect from it. The second tier is the $500,000 or more tier. That earns an 8% preferred return and a 75-25 split. 75% to you, the investor, 25% to us as managers. The way that works is that you get 8% on your money before us as managers are allowed to touch any of the cash. So if you're coming in with that larger dollar amount, the 500K, I know we had a conversation with a gentleman this morning regarding that. If that's your tier, then you would get 8% preferred return and you would get 75% of the equity. And then us as managers get 25% of the equity. The last tier is $1 million plus. I know there's not $1 million left on this deal, but if you do it between this deal and another deal, we can still honor this one. So I'll go through this category. We have a lot of folks that will come in and do $1 million. And what they get is a 10% preferred return. And it's an 80-20 split, meaning you get 80% of the proceeds, we get 20% as managers. The 10% comes to you first before us as managers get to touch that. So that's kind of the buckets and how they work. If we could put the link in the chat for booking a call, Philip, if you could drop that, or CJ, if you could drop that, I'd appreciate that. That link will get you on to a 15-minute phone call with either me or Sue or Doug or Dan on our team. One of us will be happy to talk to you. We'll go through the details of the deal with you and get you acclimated with who we are. At the end of the day, we don't need to take a dollar from anybody. We're not like a desperate broke group or anything like that. We have our own money in this deal. Our dollars are alongside of yours. We're looking for long-term partnerships. If you're looking for a long-term partnership where you can come in deals and not just do this one, but future deals, then we're probably the right spot for you. So book a call. The link is there in the chat for you. If you're wondering about security and collateral, I'll cover that as well. Let's talk about worst case scenarios. Okay. So first thing I got to mention is that you have to be accredited to invest in this. What that means is that you earn $200K as an individual or $300K as a married household, or you have $1 million net worth or more. It's a requirement. SEC requires it. So sorry, I know some folks that really want to get in that are not accredited, but the SEC requires it for this particular deal. And so that's that part of it. And then as for security and collateral, know this, first and foremost, we have a ton of happy investors, and it's because we're very good at budgeting upfront. I didn't get a chance to go through my entire backstory, and I won't bore you with that here on this, but know that I started as a fellow investor in projects. I used to be a corporate guy. I used to work at Target Corporation. I co-signed a big loan and invested into a development deal that I didn't have full control over. And when the developer walked from it, I learned the hard way about under budgeting and challenges that can come up. And it caused me to become incredibly conservative. And so everything that our team does right now, we budget really well. We budget up front. Like we're super, super careful and we have reserves on top of a reserve. And so consequently, when everybody for the last 2 years has been going back to their investors and saying, hey, I need more money, that's called a capital call. When they've been doing that, we didn't. We held the line. We rolled up our sleeves. We made sure that we dug in. Number one, we budgeted right on the front side. But number two, if a property had a challenge, we figured it out on site. And that expectation is no different for this project going through it. We know we have to put some TLC into this, and we budgeted for it, and you can fully expect that our team will get it to the finish line no matter what. Doesn't matter what we're dealt on site, our team, and we've got a good team, will get it to all the way to the finish line. Last thing for security, if you're like, well, hey, Nate, what's the worst case scenario? What could happen if things go like really, really wrong? Know this, you are a partner in the deal with us. Your money is alongside of our money. The difference is that even though my money and partners' monies were first money in, our money comes out after your money. Okay. So the order in which, if a deal went all bad, terribly, the order in which it goes is that banks are paid first. That's always how it goes. Banks or debt holders are paid first. And then equity partners are paid next. Preferred equity, which you would be in this deal, is paid before managers are. So I don't get to clip coupons or take money from the piggy bank until you're paid on the deal. That's how the security and the collateral is set up on this. We believe that we bought it really well. We bought it at $3.7 million. We believe after we get done doing some of the rent boosts, that 20% rent increase that Rodney was talking about, we believe that we'll get an evaluation of somewhere around $6 million. So you've got a good deep basis as a purchase price on this asset going in. So it really hedges against the downside as a whole. Cool. Rodney, did you make it to another spot that you want to share from?
No, I think we're good, my friend, unless there's something specifically you want to look at.
Nope. If you see our friend Nick on site, just brag on his kid, the next Michael Jordan, a little bit.
We can do that.
We'll have some fun there. Okay, guys, I'm going to take questions now. If you've got questions, feel free, fire away. We'll go through them and make sure that we get them answered for you. First one, are you raising 2 million? How much is remaining? So we're raising 2.8 million total. We've raised the majority of it. There's only $650,000 left. So there's room for 650 to come in this deal. And then once the 650 is there, then it will be completely full. And I might have read it wrong. Let me just go back and reread it too. Are you raising only 2.8 million? Yeah, it's only 2.8 million total. So we took a bank loan for 2.5, very low leverage. That's another thing with our team. We're not going to go in and over leverage property. We took out very low leverage at 2.5 million, and then we're raising the other 2.8. The majority of the 2.8 is already in. Great question. If anyone has other questions, feel free. You can either type in the chat or we can unmute you and we can just have dialogue on it. Anything that you want to see on site, feel free to ping that too, and we can show it to you. But hopefully this was a good kind of behind the scenes look. Did you get at least an ounce of value seeing the property? If you did, just put yay in the chat. Cool. All right. Lori says yes. Chris says yes. Mark says yes. Awesome. We'll have more behind the scenes looks for you, our investors, coming up soon. Actually, less than a week from now, we'll have one more. We've got a multifamily property that has some tax advantage that I get to go on site for on Tuesday next week. So I'll be leading the tour on site for that particular property. Couple of last things. Philip, if you could help me put the link in the chat again for booking a call, that'd be great. Anyone that wants to explore this investment, there's only $650,000 left. If you want to explore taking a position in it, then book a call with us. We'll run through the details with you and get you anything that you want to go through on it. Tara asks, I'm so close to being accredited. Is this process handled outside your organization through an official government? So we use a portal called Cashflow Portal. And inside of it, they ask you to do a third-party verification. So some people will get that done with a tax professional. Some people will have their attorney do it. Some people have their financial planner do it. And I would never, ever, no one in our organization would ever tell you to like cheat the system because we don't want that at all. Never, ever, ever. But I do know that people's income and their net worth can fluctuate depending on how you do your taxes, how it's read. So if any of those three professionals that I named for you could say that you're accredited, that might be the ticket that you go with. Otherwise, just hang with us because you're going to get there. I know it. You will. You're so close right now. You'll be there very, very soon, and then you'll be able to participate in the deals once you are. Next question is, what is the next step if I want to be part of this deal? So if you could quick book a call with us, what happens next is you jump on that call. We ask you what your goals are. We make sure that we can provide and meet the expectations that you have for your goals. So that's a quick 15-minute phone call on that part. And then from there, we get you a contract to be a partner in the deal. That contract is called a PPM, Private Placement Memorandum. It's a big, thick one. It's got all the legalese and the disclosures and stuff in it. But ultimately, what it does is talks about the deal, talks about potential risks and the benefits of it. And you sign the PPM. Once you sign the PPM and we countersign it with you, you become a partner in the deal. Naturally, you'll have to send in funds at some point too. We've got a secure platform you can send the funds through. You send the funds, you sign the PPM, you're a partner in the deal. After that, what happens is that we do monthly updates. You can either jump on a video call like this on Zoom and you can participate, or what you can do is join us through our recorded updates. Whichever is more convenient for your schedule, you're welcome to do. We upload bank statements. We upload property management statements. You can see what's going on. No different than the view that I get to see. You get to see what's going on. I guess there is one difference. You never have to look at broken toilets or tenant challenges or anything like that. That's part of what we do internally here for managing, but you get to see all the financial reporting for it. You are a true partner in the deal right alongside of us. Next question is, how soon do you need to give funds? Sometime in the next 10 days, funds will have to be in. So if you've got like a money transfer situation, you probably got room for about the next 10 days or so. If it's going to take longer than 10 days, you probably miss this deal. But if you want to hold that spot, then you want to jump on a call with us today and then just tell us, hey, hold that spot for me, and then do the contract with us and we can hold it for you. Cool. Lydia says, is the 200K to 300K, is that joint, gross, or net? Lydia, it depends on how your third-party verification writes it up. My guess is, Lydia, you're self-employed, so your business valuation probably fluctuates year to year. I would really have whoever's writing that letter look at the value of your business. Are you including the value of your business today? Some people miss that altogether because there probably is some value there. You've got a client list, you've got services you're providing, and that might be the thing that bumps you over the edge. It's usually the net income that the SEC would look at, but really talk to whoever your professional is that you want to have write that letter. And we're happy to join you on that call too. If that would be helpful for you, just book the call with us and then let us know, hey, it'd be helpful if we spoke with your CPA or your financial planner. We're happy to help with that. Can you review, Gerald, can you review the total purchase? What is the unit mix? Rodney, are you still there? Could we ask you that unit mix question? Is that possible?
I am here. I don't recall off the top of my head. Let me get you what I do remember. There are 3 2-bedrooms, or no, 2 3-bedrooms. Let me get those numbers right. And then I believe 47 studio apartments, and the rest are a mix of 2 and 1-bedrooms.
Cool. So about a little bit less than half studios, and then you start getting into the 2s and the 1s. Cool. Thank you, Rodney. Lydia says, can you take a credit card or payment transfer from a HELOC? HELOCs, we have a lot of people that use their HELOCs to invest. So 100% sure we can help there. Credit card, that's a little bit more difficult, but HELOC, definitely. Lydia, if you could book a quick call with us, tell us the details you're thinking, and then we'll work through that with you. Terrace says, I had a business valuation done a few years ago. I can use that. Yay! Awesome. Cool. All right. And that last link in the chat that Sue just put there, you can use that link. When we close down this Zoom right here, that link will disappear. If you're following us online and you're like, hey, Nate, Where's the link? Just type link in the comments, LINK, and our team will private message it to you. So type link in the comments and we'll private message it to you if you're following us on social media. Okay. $2.5 million loan plus $2.8 million being raised. So 5.3 million total. Yes. Yes, that's the total amount. Is 1.6 million being used for renovations. So renovations is the biggest line item on it. But addition to that, we've got a few other things. We always hold reserves for the property. Every single time. You never want to go into a deal without adequate reserves. So we hold reserves. We're probably more conservative than most groups, but we hold a healthy amount of reserves. And that's what hedges us from having to ever go back to investors and ask for more money later. So we do that. And then we also pay fees. So our team does get paid a fee on this. If you're wondering the question, Nate, why does your team do this? There's a couple of reasons. One, we do get paid a fee. It's kind of like a broker fee. Brokers sometimes tend to make more than us, but that's okay. We have team members that we have to pay, team members like you saw that are on site. So we get paid a fee for bringing the deal to the table. The second reason that we do this is because we earn between 20 and 30% of the net at the end of the day. After we get you your money back, after we get you your preferred return, after we clear all hurdles that are owed to you, the investor, then us as a management team, we get to participate in the deal too. So that's a huge motivation for us. Looks like I have a storm over here and my lights are going to flicker a little bit, but hopefully it will stay online for us. So yeah, that's why we do the deal. And that's where part of the funds go to as well. So renovation, reserve, fee, that's the predominant part of it. And if you'd like to get a copy of the OM and go through it line item, we're happy to share that with you as well. Just book a quick call with us and we'll get you the OM and you can go through and see it, the whole breakdown. And we also spell out where the renovation money goes in that as well. Gerard, what is the acquisition fee that you have mentioned? It's somewhere around 1.5%. I don't remember the exact amount, but it's written into the OM. You can physically see it written in the OM as well. So most brokers would get somewhere around 2%. In fact, I had to sign the broker rep agreement this morning on it. The seller's paying it, thankfully, but I had to sign that. Terrace says, what are your benchmark dates to complete phases and get renters in per phase? I joined late. I might have missed this part. Rodney, you can correct me if I'm wrong on any of this part, but what phases would you describe we're going to go through for renovation and getting renters up to that 20% increase that we have as a potential?
Yeah, so we are looking basically the first phase is Q1. We're going to get the roof done and start those units in building number 4 and get the rent back up to 90% by Q2 of 2025. And it'll probably be before that, but I'm just being a little reserved there because we have winter coming in and we don't know what's going to hit us on the roof for any delay or anything on that. But everything else is by the end of 18 months, we will be up our NOI close to the 20% at that point to continue to move forward.
Cool. So phase 1 are the critical repairs and updates so that we can get to a healthy occupancy. Right now, they're at about 85% occupancy. So that's phase 1. That's quarter 1. Literally, as soon as we close, we're on that. We get that part done. And then phase 2 would be getting us to market rate rent. And that's going to occur basically over the next 18 months. So hopefully that answered your question.
Yeah, better summarized. Thanks, sir. I have one more unit if you want to see that. And I got Master Nick here standing with me as well.
Yeah, let's do that. And I'm going to answer a question as you're getting camera ready. So Jared's asking, if you oversubscribe, will you reduce the loan amount? Hey, great question, Jared. Typically, when we oversubscribe, we just stop taking funds. But if that's an important metric to you, if you'd rather pay down the loan, let us play with that on a spreadsheet for a minute. And if it makes sense, it still gets everybody the ROI that we want, then we're happy to have that conversation. Definitely. Thanks for bringing that up.
Yeah.
All right. Rod, you go ahead, man.
Yeah, so here's another one that they just vacated. So as you can see, it's going to be a pretty simple turn, but it's also a 1-bedroom, simple, straightforward here on one of the buildings. And then
Here, I'll take you out and introduce you to Mr. Nick. Say hi, Nick.
Hi,
Okay.
Nick.
How's
Nick,
everybody?
we love your expertise and skills in construction, but really what we wanted to ask about is your MBA prodigy.
Well, I'm hoping that he continues so that he can keep me in the way I should become accustomed.
Okay. All right. Awesome. Awesome. Hey, we appreciate the work that you and the team are doing, man. Thank you.
You're
Appreciate
welcome.
it. Cool. Cool. Thanks, Rodney.
All right, guys.
All right. What is the minimum investment that you take? Our minimum is 100K, 100K minimums for our deals. And then the max that we can take on this deal is 650. At least at this point, we do have a tier that allows for $1 million, which gets more benefits, like a higher preferred return, 10%, and then a higher equity split. If that is the case, we can either explore paying down some of the loan right off the bat, or we can explore taking some of the money and putting it into another deal. So we're open to it, but 100K is the minimum. And then we've got tiers that go all the way up to $1 million for benefits. So just quick recap. You guys saw what Rodney showed us on site. Remember, we're taking these dated building. This seller was off-site. He lived in California. This building is in Oklahoma City. We're taking that whole building and we're upgrading it. So as unit turnovers, we're going to make these beautiful to the units that we have to achieve that 20% increase. Both inside and out is getting some love, getting some TLC. The property is right next to Tinker Air Force Base. That's important for two reasons. Number one, population of this little city has grown by 6% year over year. That's a really good thing. And secondarily, jobs are abundant. You can't go too far without finding good, solid employment. And one of the biggers is Pratt & Whitney, who just committed another $255 million to their facility at Tinker so that they can continue to produce F-135 jet engines. So this is really, really good for us and for this particular asset. If you're looking to invest, there's 3 different tiers. They start at 100K. You can put in 100K, you get a 6% preferred return. That simply means that you make your 6% before us as managers get to touch the piggy bank. After you get your 6%, then we get to start doing a split. And our team gets to split. We give you 70%, we get to earn 30%. Tier 2 is for folks that are doing a 500K investment or more. That's an 8% preferred return and a 75-25 split, meaning you get 75% and then us as managers get 25%. And then tier 3, this is for $1 million and more. You get a 10% preferred return. So you get paid 10% before we get to touch any of the money. And then we got an 80-20 split. You get 80% as the investor, we get 20% as the management team. For all of these, the next step is that you book a quick call with our team. We'll go through any details you want on that call. We can get you financials. We can get you the offering memorandum. We'll go through anything and everything that you want to go through on it. And most importantly to us is that we just want to make sure that we can be a good fit long-term. We're looking for true partners that can step into this deal, not only this one, but future deals with us. And that's just kind of how we do business. So use the link that's in the chat right now. Philip and Sue had placed it there. If you could book that call using that link, that'd be great. I'm going to go back through and make sure that I got questions. It looks like there's a couple more that came in. Jared said, okay, that was oversubscribed question. Next one. What is the minimum investment with you? 100K. Jared says, can you recap the ARV on this site? So Jared, based on net operating income on the property, when we achieve the rent increases, this is about a 20% increase. We believe the ARV is around $6 million, maybe 6.2. It kind of depends on what you argue that the cap rate is. We tend to go into these things really conservative. So we're saying that we're going to have to cap out at around a 7% rate. A lot of people can do Class C housing at a 6 cap right now. We're not playing that game. We're going more conservative than that. So based on the net operating income, once we get the rents up at 20%, we believe that we're at 6 million or more for valuation on the property. Once we can achieve higher rent roll, everything is based on rent roll. Like unlike a single family houses, the value is based on what the neighbors are selling for. You hire an appraiser, they look at the neighbors, they figure out the price per square foot, and then they pin the value on your property. Unlike that, in commercial, everything is based off of the net operating income. And so that's our biggest measurement. That's what the appraiser that the bank is going to use is going to look at. What is the net operating income? So based on where we're at today and where we know we can get to when we get to market rent, we've got a 20% jump, and we think that we'll get 6 million plus on valuation. Great question. Cool. I think we nailed all the questions. So I'm going to return the time back to you. If you've got any more, feel free to reach out. You could use the link to book a call. Philip, if you could put the free book giveaway, I would appreciate that. If that's a book giveaway, that's a gift from us to you. It's on real estate syndications. Our team worked hard to put that together. We're doing it as just a pure gift. That link will be in the chat for you guys. And then in addition to that, we have another event tomorrow, and we have one more Tuesday next week. Tomorrow is about end of year tax plays. If you're looking for end of year stuff, then tomorrow's broadcast, it'll be just for that. Philip will put the link in the chat for that. You can register for it, so you'll get a nice reminder sent to you. Tomorrow's broadcast is all about that. And then next week on Tuesday, I will be on site at a different multifamily property. Not to be confused with this one. This particular asset is awesome for cash flow and for getting your money back in the first 2 years. If instead you want to look at one that's, you're not going to get cash back as fast, but you get big tax breaks, then Tuesday next week, make sure you tune into that one. That asset is called Pine Tree Path, and I'll be on site at that asset on Tuesday next week. So that's what's going on here in the near future for us. Jared's asking, what do you project the refi to look like with the challenge of unknown interest rates? That's a very fair question. And I don't have a crystal ball. I can't make any guarantees. I do know this. We've refinanced over 100 properties, and we played the whole appraisal game. I've challenged appraisals. I've appealed appraisals. Like, I've played that game long enough to know how it goes. But we feel very confident, even with the interest rate risk that we have in the future, we feel confident that we're going to be able to return 90% or more of capital invested. That's the bold prediction that we're making right now on this. And we tend to underpromise and overdeliver on it. What are our risks? Let's talk through that. If the Fed chairman decides the economy is not going the way that they thought it was going, and it's time to raise interest rates, that's a risk for us. I don't think that's going to happen. I think that especially under the Trump administration coming in, I think that they're really going to put their foot, this is going to sound bad, but I think that they'll put their foot on the throat of the Fed. And I think that they're going to try to make interest rates go down and continue that bandwagon. Plus, the Fed promised it. The Federal Reserve would look really, really silly right now if they came out and said, oh, we're reversing. It could happen, but they would look really silly. So it's our firm belief that interest rates will come down. When we're running numbers on refi, we're doing it as if it were today's rates. Let's just say it flatlined for the next 2 years. That's kind of how we're basing it. If it happens to come in less, we'll get a more favorable refi. They'll give us more cash proceeds. Great question. Good group. You guys are awesome. I love this. What are you shooting for as far as the loan amount on the mortgage? We want to get enough to bring back at least 90% of capital. So for us, let me do the math with you right now because I don't have the spreadsheet up. 5.2. So somewhere around $4.5 million we'll probably aim for. 4 million to 4.5. That's what we're gonna aim for. We've got a spreadsheet on it though. If you want to go through the whole spreadsheet where we break it down, then just let us know that. We can share that with you. Cool. All right. I think we've tackled all the questions. So Philip, if you could drop the link one more time for booking a call for this, that'd be amazing. And then know that as soon as we close the Zoom room, all of these links go away, the book, booking a call, all that kind of stuff. So this will all disappear from you. So make sure you click it before we close the Zoom room. And for anyone following us online, if you can't find these links, just type the word link in your chat section or the comment section, and our team will private message you these links. Cool. All right. Thank you guys very much. Appreciate having you. Looking forward to seeing you on tomorrow's year-end event or next week on site at our 72 unit building. Cool. Thanks, guys. Thank you, Rodney. Thank you, Nick. Bye, guys.